All right. Women are landing jobs, so why are so many men still jobless? Okay.
Jobs are pretty hard to find at the moment, and that's not really news to anyone who's been looking for one. I remember when I was young, they'd always say that if you didn't work hard in school, you'll end up working at McDonald's.
There's tons of jobs available. It's just there are a lot of jobs that people don't want to do. Period. There there just are. The turnover rate for some jobs are just like so massive. Nobody wants to do like the jobs with high turnover rate.
For the rest of your life. But we're at the point now where even getting a job at a place like McDonald's is impossibly difficult. Retail jobs feel just as competitive as any
Really?
other.
I'm getting rejected from retail and fast food. What do I do? The sinking sadness when you can't even get a retail jobs aren't entry. Jesus.
And you know the situation's bad because we've got world leaders now going.
Financial Times. This guy says rising unemployment, not necessarily a bad sign. Really?
And saying that
You guys gonna implement UBI, Universal Basic Income, yet?
rising unemployment might not necessarily be a bad sign. Unfortunately, some groups have been hit harder than others by this crisis. Specifically, recent university graduates have an unemployment rate that's twice as high versus the.
Wait, what was that? Unemployment rates for recent college graduates versus other groups. What? Well, obviously, like right there, it was like high unemployment. Obvious reason. So I got young workers, which is the gray, all college grad, red, recent college grad. Oh, and then all workers is like, okay, that one. Yeah. Uh-oh. So you want to stay down. Down better. Up bad, down good. You look at like you see it's got bad and then it's get better and then it's like kind of trickled up, but it was like the trend was still going down, but then it spiked up again and then it went down again and then it spiked up again. Like that sucked. And then it went down again. And it's kind of getting down low, like 5-ish percentish, somewhere around there, but like look at the trend of the line. Like it's like trending up again. It's not spiking up, right? It's not spiking up, but it's like trending up still.
Twice as high versus the average for all college grads. And even amongst college graduates, rising graduate joblessness is mainly affecting men. There's been
Damn.
this little bit of a divergence in recent months where the unemployment rate for men specifically has begun to spike, while the unemployment
Uh-oh.
rate for women who've recently graduated from college has slowly started to soften. And we're at the point now where young male college grads are now jobless at the same rate as non-graduates. So if you're a dude and you went to college, you may as well have not bothered. And I thought this
Damn.
was quite strange. And if you listen to the Twitter replies of the journalists who actually observed this phenomenon, the explanations you get tend to go along something like this. Corporations have been trying to churn out girl
So corporations are part of the fertility problem, turning out girl bosses intentionally to spite men.
bosses to intentionally spite men. And I was not quite convinced, to be honest. I don't think there's a secret plot to churn out girl bosses. And unsurprisingly, there are much more reasonable explanations for what's going on here. Despite this idea of unemployment being really high, the headline jobs numbers have actually been really good lately. The US added 147,000 jobs in June, which was actually well above what was expected. Which
US adds jobs in June, surpassing expectation mid. Like anytime I hear we added jobs or we took away jobs, like that's such a flippant thing to say, because it's like people don't want to just work a job. They want to work like a career, something that they can like invest time and energy into and get a pension at the end of it. Nobody wants to work a fucking job.
seems like it would be like a paradox. But if we look at where the job growth is actually happening at the moment, in the private sector, it's just healthcare, really. And unsurprisingly, healthcare has been a female-dominated industry for a while now. So this has helped soften the unemployment rate. But
Women employed in healthcare and social assistance over 10 years. So total women. Okay, and this is healthcare. Mostly women. Crazy over. It's always up. Women are just massively dominating healthcare. Yeah.
Women who've recently graduated from college. However, this is, I don't know how to break it to you, this is not a DEI plot by Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
1990.
Hasn't it been like that for like fucking ever?
The top industry in most states was manufacturing. In 2024, the top
employer in each state, 1990. Manufacturing, a lot. Retail. But like, nobody lives over here. The thing that this fucking little pictograph doesn't show is like where actually everyone's living, like the majority of the population. Almost everyone in America, like the population is mostly like right over here. All right, there's not a lot of people over in here, all right? And there's like a decent amount of chunk over here. But yeah, mostly everyone is like right there. So it would make it seem that everything is equal, but it's not. Okay? So, yeah, the graphs are misleading.
In 2024, the top employer in
each state, healthcare. Everybody want to be in healthcare. Where was healthcare in this one? Or was healthcare just not a thing? Oh, okay. So we make the stuff, and then once the stuff is made, it's just people focus on their health. Not so much manufacturing, maybe a little bit of, the fuck is professional service? The heck is hospitality? Vegas? The big surprise there.
Each state is almost always healthcare, right? American people have just been getting really, really old. 1 in 5 Americans is projected to be 65 years or older by 2030.
Yeah, people are people living longer? Because everyone is like taking care of themselves. They're just going to the gym. I mean, you can, let me see if this still holds true. Google Trends, Google Terrans. If I, who that? No one cares. Gym membership. Search term. No, I don't care. The past 5 years. Yeah, it's only going up. Over the past 5 years, more and more people are going to the gym. Jesus Christ. All in California, Hawaii, District of Columbia, New Jersey, New York. Yeah, more and more people are just going to the gym.
In 1930, this number was 1 in 20. We're now at the point where the US population is so old that Americans spend more on healthcare than they do on groceries and housing. It's only projected to get worse as Americans get older and older. But these factors have all helped to prop up a little bit of unemployment for women specifically, because they dominate the healthcare industry to much higher degrees than men. In the 1990s, when the top employer was...
So people are living longer. Which causes people to go to the doctor more, which stimulates the healthcare industry more, making it seem that it's just a more economically stimulating industry, healthcare.
Manufacturing, this did wonders for male unemployment and helped keep them in jobs. And thankfully, unemployment should be coming right back down, because the US is going to get tons of new manufacturing jobs, screwing in little screws into iPhones any minute now.
Yeah, nobody wants this job either. Make a fucking robot do that shit, dude. Fuck all that.
Okay, any minute now. Except that wouldn't really help, to be honest, because the US actually already has a massive shortfall in manufacturing jobs.
Why factories are having trouble filling? Because nobody wants to do a fucking factory job. Make a robot do that shit. Right? What is everyone trying to do? Everyone's trying to make the next humanoid robot, right? So they can take all our gerbs. Because you don't need to have a pension for a robot. You don't have to have healthcare or insurance for a robot. You maintain the robot with like a maintenance fee or whatever, and the robot keeps working no matter what. It works 24 days a week. It works 24/7, 7 days an hour. Yeah, it just does that. It works 365 hours in a day, and it doesn't complain. Humans? Yeah. The opposite of what I just said all applies to humans.
500,000 open jobs. There isn't a shortage of jobs in male-dominated industries. It's just that today's men don't want to do the jobs in these male-dominated
That's
industries,
it.
like manufacturing. For good reason. If you ask Americans if America would be better off if more Americans worked in manufacturing, the overwhelming majority are in favor.
Just make a damn robot arm to do that shit, dude. Meanwhile, you want to pay some regular ass person like under minimum wage for whatever state that they're in to do like literally the same fucking thing, like on hours, like on end, and expect them to get fulfillment from that. Fuck out of here.
If you rephrase this question a little bit though, and you ask them, would your life be better if you specifically worked in manufacturing? People change their tune. There's this weird collective nostalgia for manufacturing jobs and the idea that they're gonna, free.
What? Let me see this graph again. Manufacturing, someone's American dream, just not mine. Percent in agreement. All Americans, Republican leaning. So most people, okay, so I'm just gonna go off all because whatever. I'm assuming what, like all the Democrat leaning would be like lower? Is that what I'm guessing? I don't know. Okay, so all Americans. Wait, so but like why is like the Republican graph higher than the all American graph? Why not show like all American, Republican, Democrat? Okay, this graph is fucked up. Whatever. America would be better off if more Americans worked in manufacturing. Okay. Probably. If we made our own stuff. Yeah. I would be better off if I worked in a factory. No. So this is what I'm seeing. So someone else's dream, just not mine. Yeah. I 100% agree with this. Yeah, nobody wants to do a dumbass fucking factory job. You want to do a fucking factory job? Make a robot. Make a robot do that shit. Nobody wants to get underpaid, massively underpaid, for doing literally the same task. Sorry, not sorry.
Weird collective nostalgia for manufacturing jobs and the idea that they're gonna, free men from their shackles of unemployment. But it's largely just like a myth and based in nostalgia. And when you see that the rise in graduate unemployment is concentrated amongst men, it's actually quite easy to take away the wrong message from this, where you think that it's a DEI plot or something. This pattern of college educated men and women not being able to get jobs is really just a story around how there are very few good quality jobs in many industries. But certain demographics have been protected effectively because of changes at a population level. There's been this thing that's been happening since the pandemic called the K-shaped recovery. And it's created a situation where some parts of the economy are doing extremely well while other parts are stagnating. And if you look at the overall
K-shaped recovery, so that's like the bottom and that's like the K. Business cycle, recession, trough. Some parts of the economy is recovering, some parts stagnating or sinking. Okay, what parts? Average GDKP. What parts are up? What parts are down?
picture, it seems like the economy is doing generally pretty healthy, but rather
What, generally healthy? I mean,
What's happened is that a really large group is left behind, while
I don't know. You measure the gap from here to there, and then you measure the gap from there to there. If both of these parts of the economy are equal, we are we are like in the middle. And like it seems like if I were to guess, it'd probably be like because this gap is a little bit bigger than that gap. Like we're just like getting worse. We're just slowly getting worse.
another group, which is much smaller, has rocketed ahead. The K-shaped economy is the
AI. That's the part that's way up. AI is up.
idea that you can get two headlines like this within a few weeks of each other. S&P 500 and Nasdaq rally to record highs, but also late credit card payments have hit a record high. And
Oh, late credit card payments hit record high.
the same story is playing out in education as well. For a long time, like going to university gave you what was called the college wage premium. You get a degree, you're going to earn more, which is why people go to school, if we're honest. What's happened in recent years is that the college wage premium has become bigger for some group of people and smaller for another group of people.
Going to college has become regressive, offering more to kids the richer they are. Damn, that's the truth.
Going to college has become regressive, offering more to kids the richer they are. Instead of a degree giving you this almost guaranteed bonus in wages, it really is just like a multiplier on the social status that your family already has. And in this paper, they actually explain a good few reasons why this is the case. One of the big reasons is that over the last few decades, federal and state funding has gone disproportionately to the big research-oriented universities. So you can think of, Harvard's, MIT's, places like that. And those places tend to be a lot more socially stratified. They have far more high-income students than a regular state school. And
yeah, I mean, I get it. What's it called? Like an Ivy League school or whatever? Yeah, this is just a case of the rich get richer. I mean, it's this graph. This is the answer to everything in life. This graph. Bang. Bang. Parabola. Something like that. Something like that. Yeah, most people are. Is this it? Come on. Most people are like over here. That's like most people, like 90% of people over here. Like maybe 10% of people like ever get over here. And even sillier if like you're born here. Like you just spawned in, like bop. Yeah, this is where it's all at. Same thing for every industry in life.
And this has only served to really increase the disparity between wealthier students and low income students. The schools that take on low income students have received a fraction of the federal funding. The other reason, which I thought was quite interesting, is that for profit universities have been increasingly gobbling up students that come from low income families. And
6-year completion rates by type of institution. So if you go to a 4-year private school, nonprofit, there is a 68% chance for you to complete your degree. 4-year public school, 63% chance for you to complete your diploma or whatever. But if you go to a 4-year for-profit school, there's only a 29% chance for you to complete your degree. Is that what I'm like reading?
the outcomes, if you go to a for-profit university, are not really very good, but they disproportionately advertise and market and target low-income students who are more likely to sign up, are more likely to take out large amounts of debt to pay for them, and who are less likely to actually get a benefit from going to a for-profit university. But, it's also worth acknowledging that poorer students are less likely to get into more competitive programs like engineering and technology. What we've seen as well with the rise of big tech is that the lucrative opportunities have become really concentrated.
AI wealth creation company valuations. Jesus. OpenAI 300B. Anthropic 170B. Scale 29B. Perplexity 18B. The AI billionaire boom. Dang. That's crazy. I'm waiting for there to be a T, for OpenAI to hit a T. That's going to be crazy. But it's going to look silly because as these numbers go up and get like bigger, this number is just going to go down. And it's going to be like 1T.
Into just like a handful of sectors. And so those sectors have become ultra competitive.
Yep.
And the more concentration we have of high earning jobs into a handful of sectors, the harder it is for students as a whole to benefit from that. If you can't.
Yeah, because people see that and they're like, well, what do I got to do to get in there? So it creates like a, what do you call it? It creates like an incentivization to like just not give a fuck about anything else and just only try to do that.
Get into a good quality STEM program, a good quality tech program, a good
Yep.
quality engineering program, it suddenly becomes a lot more.
Yep. Get into tech. If you fail doing tech, keep trying to get into tech. What can I say?
More difficult to make a good living after university. But I think, okay, it doesn't actually have to be this way, right? So there's an interesting difference when you compare Germany and the US in this regard. In Germany, it actually turns out that the benefit of going to...
What's causing the wage stagnation among workers without college education in the United States? The US. So what? Is this like stagnation increasing? But like stagnation, like what does this mean? Among workers without college. So there is this like, I don't know what this graph means. Does this mean stagnation is going up and like it's getting like leveled out versus whatever this is, it's like low? Is this like low stagnation, which means there's like constantly increasing wage increases versus like increasing stagnation, which means nothing is changing?
University on your lifetime wages is a lot smaller than it is in America. And this might actually seem like a bad thing at first, but it's really not. I looked at another paper and they found that in Germany, the employment protection laws are so much stronger that they create a massive incentive for companies to invest in the development of all their staff, not...
Oh. So because the United States doesn't want to invest in workers, the workers have to suffer. Damn.
Just their highest earners. Small, medium, and large businesses in Germany are a lot more incentivized to reinvest in jobs and job positions that will benefit the company in the long term, because it's so much harder to fire someone once you've hired them. It's created this like cycle where they're much more incentivized to make you the most productive worker that they can make you while you're there, because it makes more sense to spend that money on improving the quality of staff you have than to just get rid of them as soon as they don't hit the right threshold at work.
Yeah. I mean, shit, like the meta in the United States is to just job hop. And upon you like constantly getting new jobs or whatever, you will eventually hit like a company that's like, oh, entry level job is like equal to the person that's been there for like 10 years. But meanwhile, the 10-year person is like pissed that they're not getting an increase in pay for staying there at the business, while the new person is making essentially like what, like 90% of that 10-year person, or 95%, just going on day, like coming on to the company like day one. Yeah, you are incentivized to have multiple jobs and to never stick down or be tied down by one job. Every company is going through or jumping through hoops to like increase the base wage. All right, you got to keep turnover rate down. So how do you do that? Just increase the base wage. So where's all the money going? The people that are working there it's going to the new people. It's not going to the people that have been there for a while.
I think there's a really good example, by the way, that highlights exactly how this setup works. Just a couple of years ago, a report leaked from Amazon headquarters where they admitted that they were on the...
Amazon could run out of workers in the US in 2 years, internal memo suggests. Ha! That's going to be hilarious. When are they just going to make the damn robots to do that shit, dude? Or when is Jeff Bezos, isn't he probably going to hire like non-American people? Just yeah, come on over, everyone. H-1B visas for everybody.
Brink of running out of Americans that they could hire because Amazon's whole strategy at their warehouse is to have such terrible working conditions that
Yeah,
people just come in and out. They're incentivized to just get new people every time
yeah, fuck them.
because that's cheaper than actually training people. This is largely because worker protection is so weak in the US. And they're
Mm-hmm.
getting to the point now where they're literally running out of Americans that they can hire. If you look at high school graduates in Germany, which represent
If there was a Amazon warehouse near me that opened up, I wouldn't fucking work there. Fuck them. Oh, I only hear bad stuff from the Amazon warehouses.
by the yellow line here, and they're way more likely to stay at a job for 20 plus years compared to the US. If an employee stays at a workplace for a long time and the employer is incentivized to develop that employee, the average skill level just goes up, and high school graduates are able to earn a much more decent wage without necessarily needing several years of additional education. And like obviously it's not a perfect situation in Germany. For
No.
example, older workers are less likely to get laid off than younger workers, but it's at least an incentive structure that
Yeah.
really raises the floor for workers that choose to not go into further education. And I think
Wait, what was that? What was that? Let me go back. Moreover, German law requires firms who lay off lay off workers to follow criteria when deciding which workers to dismiss, giving special protection to older workers and those with long tenure. Dang, those are the guys that get fucked over the most.
Floor workers that choose to not go into further education. And I think when you see like this idea of a bonus in earnings from going to college, it isn't really a bonus. It's not necessarily that people with degrees.
But then again, the other argument I hear is that it's not up to a company to provide jobs to its surrounding like people. I don't know. I just heard that like recently, but I don't know. I never really thought about it every which way. But that's an argument I hear.
Have been lifted up. It's that people without degrees in the US have been pushed down really far because they have way less bargaining power on average and are victims of really bad employment policies. Whereas the ones with degrees have been able to just keep their head above water and kind of insulate themselves from these bad policies. And the group of people that have been able to push their head above water has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller due to rising inequality and due to some industry specific trends. The rise in healthcare jobs help to make it look like women are not as affected by it. But the problem is
rising graduate joblessness is mainly affecting men. Will that last?
Clearly still there. For a long
It's probably gonna keep going and get worse.
time, these dynamics were like pretty hidden because going to college gave you another major advantage, which was that you were the first to sample new technology. You actually had much more time to use a computer. You had much more practice with software and tools that other people wouldn't have had. And those skills have today become ultra commonplace. And now more and more people with a bachelor's are also being pushed down. There's this idea of overqualification, the idea that you don't need the qualification you have right now to do the job that you have. So for example,
yeah.
If you're a university graduate that's doing it.
But then again, also you could think about all of the bullshit degrees that people are coming out and getting. I mean, we have this like STEM versus non-STEM thing. I would actually need to see like who like, and I would need to like figure out like who's coming out with like a bachelor in a STEM field or like even a master, and then who's coming out with like a bachelor in something that's non-STEM, and you know, a bachelor of a non-STEM thing and a bachelor or like a master in a non-STEM thing, and figure out who's getting more jobs or who is actually like not getting hired or who's not getting jobs. That's what I would ask.
job that could be done by a high school graduate, you're considered to be overqualified. And there are tons and tons of overqualified people today. In the UK, 37% of workers have a qualification that they do not need for the job that they're currently doing. There are
Damn.
tons of like college graduates at the moment who are functionally like in the workplace, no different to a high school graduate. And so they are treated like the high school graduates, and they are a lot more susceptible to dodgy employment practices or not being able to get a job at all. But yes, things are starting to change.
First year college students in the US. Okay, so first year college students in the US down by more than 6% ahead of projected enrollment cliff. So what, are people just enrolling in college less?
And the number of first year college students is actually starting to trend downwards, which is quite surprising. I think a lot of people have been put off by the lifelong commitment to student debt, but I don't think this is really going to help that much on like a grander scale. The complete lack of employment protection is a really big contributor. I guess we have to just hope that people act to change things and organize more in the workplace, because that's really the only method that's been shown to work decently well at protecting wages, not just for college graduates, but
Yeah, I've seen a ton of jobs have the bachelor requirement, but then you just need a random bachelor of something. You don't need to be like have the bachelor in like your preferred field. Or maybe it depends on the job you're trying to get. But there's a lot of jobs that where it's just like, we only need you to get a bachelor. So what ends up happening is people just get like a general bachelor degree of like, most of the time it'll be like some stupid bullshit of like business management or something like that.
For everyone in the workforce. Hey yo, thanks for watching. If you feel like you learned something and you want another way to support the channel that's completely free, please consider joining my Patreon. It is linked in the description below. I'm trying to make an effort to create some community outside of YouTube, and if that sounds like it might be up your street, then head on over. Did I mention it's free? Yes, it's free. Yeah, come on, click on it, okay? Love you. Bye-bye.
Nice.
According to the Kellogg School of Management, the wage divide.
Jobs are pretty hard to find.
Well, women are landing jobs. Why are so many men still jobless? I mean, shit. I don't know, man. I mean, you kind of like nail it down, but like healthcare is up. What, manufacturing is down. Nobody wants to do manufacturing. Public service, like, well, healthcare is more or less like public service, but like police, fire, electrician, plumbing, construction, you know, like those type of jobs, like most of those jobs are like male dominated industries. But I mean, shit, even a lot of men don't even want to do those jobs. They just do them just because they're just like desperate and they need a job. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, shit, I don't know. And you know what else? I'm tired of saying I'm thankful to have a job, because I do have a job, but it's just a job. I mean, it's a career, but I'm just doing it just to get a fucking pension, dude. Like, Jesus. Because I gotta participate in society and not be a fucking degenerate, right? Whatever. Good video though. Keep it up, man. You're doing good. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.